We're sitting here talking black with black media at a black homecoming, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the definition of a perfect world.
I want to take you on a journey with me to one of my favorite places, a place that I call home. We're going at a time where everybody will be there. Family, friends that have become family, and new ones that are instantly that. This is an insider's exposition into one of the most well-known yet misconstrued events, Howard Homecoming. We're going to kick it with Jay Hall on the yard, in the crowd, at the Yard Fest, as he catches up with his day ones, Courtney, Michelle, and his cousin Mike, and a couple other Bison alum as well. Oh, and be sure to stick around to the end to hear about the history of Howard's most iconic building. Can you guess which one that is? But for now, let's kick it on the yard and talk to a couple of folks about the moment they knew they were going to Howard and what they took away from their experience here at the university.
Howard to me was very historical. A lot of famous people came from Howard, so you kind of felt the history when you were here.
Okay.
But I didn't expect so much diversity as far as cultures for black people.
Speak on it.
So,
Speak on it.
I mean, to me, growing up in an all-black neighborhood, all-black high school, all-black college, I felt like, oh, I'll just transition smoothly into Howard. But the cultural differences from people from the Caribbean, from Africa, and in just any other place in the States, like, everybody was so diverse, you know, from people who were on financial aid, people who had to do ROTC like me, to people who were pretty much here on full scholarships or daddy scholarships. You know, you just had so much richness here. And so when I left Howard, I walked away with something a little bit more valuable than just being around black people, but just being around black people who were intelligent and who really showed the world, like, we do this all across the country, all across the world.
My junior year of high school in Atlanta, the Alumni Association there, during like the metro area spring break, they do a bus trip where they send high school students up and they live on campus for a week. And they're hosted by like the students in the Georgia Club. So you get to live on campus, you get to like, for as much as possible, you get to live on campus, you get to walk around, you get to see it, you get to visit everything, and it's spring break. So like the sun is out, there are people on the yard, you get to hear from any and everybody, you hear all these perspectives about like how life is, and that week was when I was like, yeah.
That's what it was?
I'm going Howard, yeah.
All right. So I know your story. Can you please tell everyone, how did you make the choice to come to Howard University coming out of high school?
Okay, so actually
Out of Detroit, where we're from.
Out of Detroit.
Yeah.
My family is big at Howard. Like all of my cousins went to Howard. So I said, you know what? I'm going. Like at 5 years old, I knew I was going to Howard.
At 5?
At 5. My first cousin came in '88. And I was like, this is my campus. So by the time I got to high school and I did like the college tours, I was in choir. We used to go around and sing at different historically black colleges. And Howard was still my heart. So it was between that and I looked at filming, but Howard was just the first choice for me.
Having all that Howard around you, what was your perception of Howard then versus once you entered and left?
So I would say I didn't really understand. I just saw. I didn't understand like inside, like how they really build you up, how the community of students and, you know, outside community really like build you up as a black person. Mm-hmm. So when I come in here and being like on a first name basis with my professors who actually cared about what I was doing and how my grades were, it changed me. Like it really resonated with me.
Why did you choose Howard University when you were a young high schooler coming out?
Well, actually, I have a unique story. Well, maybe not so unique. I went to the University of Miami my first year, and I was dating someone that went to Howard. And I came to my first homecoming, and I walked on this yard, and I went and got my application.
It was a wrap?
I went and got my application. When I went back, I filled out my application. I was like, I had never seen anything this spectacular in my life. All of these African-American kids handling their business and just being wonderful and beautiful. I had never seen it. You know, I came here in what, '88. Mm-hmm. So we didn't have social media.
Right.
So we didn't see all this.
Right.
I walked on the yard, I thought I was going to lose my mind.
It was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous.
What was your perception of an HBCU or Howard before you got here versus what it is once you left?
So before I got here, I was raised in Chicago, and I was raised by my grandmother, who was born and raised in the South. So she was very much for me going to a PWI.
Okay.
That's just how they were raised. At that point in time, they were like, go assimilate. The world is white. You go and learn how to deal in that world. So that was really, I didn't even apply. I didn't even think about it. And so when I got here, I called her back and I'm like, Mom, I gotta go here. It's different. I'm just like, these kids are wonderful. They're doing wonderful things. They're having wonderful conversations.
Honestly, I didn't know much about Howard. I did pretty well in high school, very athletic. But the valedictorian in the class before mine was a gentleman by the name of David Rogers.
Okay.
And he was an academic. And when he chose Howard, I just followed suit. I said, if it's good enough for Dave, it's good enough for me. When I first heard about Howard, I thought it was a party school. When I got here, I realized that whatever it is that you want to do, there's a corner here for you. So if you want to focus on academics, you want to focus on business, you want to focus on becoming a doctor, Howard has a spot for you. Not only that, but the support that you receive, both from the alumni as well as the faculty, prepares you in a way that I don't think any other school could prepare you.
One thing Howard prepares you for is to wear multiple hats. And Justin Hanford, professor of law at the Howard University School of Law, went from speaking on a panel with a few heavyweights to enjoying the homecoming festivities like everyone else. But then again, what would you expect from a true Bison baby?
So I'm the third generation in my family to go to Howard. My grandparents, both my grandmother and grandfather went to Howard. My mother went to Howard. So I was actually signed up to go to Morehouse, and I was at a roommate and everything. And it was Christmas dinner. We sat around the dinner table, and all my family members started telling these old Howard stories. Oh, Howard's so great, Howard this, Howard that. And by the end of the dinner, I was like, all right, I think I'll go ahead and make the move to go back to HU with the family, So it's a very much a family tradition. And I think that's pretty common. Howard is a family institution. A lot of people have second, third generation family members who went here for a long time, the black community. I think everybody's a little bit adjacent to Howard in the black community. Everybody has a cousin or uncle or somebody who has a Howard connection. So I really feel like it's our institution, it's our school, and this is something that we can continue the legacy with going forward.
So you're a bona fide, real example of a Bison baby.
Yeah, I'm a Bison baby.
You know what I mean? You're a Bison baby for real.
We're gonna step away from the yard for a bit and take a look at Howard through a new prism and speak to Princess Black of Universally Black as she reminisces about her first week on campus and unpacks the impact of attending an HBCU in the nation's capital.
Can you describe like your first week when you actually got here and you actually became an actual student?
That was like right after Katrina hit.
When you were here, okay, cool.
That was right after Katrina hit.
So that was a huge thing.
Yeah, it's first students from Dillard and Xavier that came down from New Orleans that I know and love and still hold dear to me this day. And so it's interesting how we transition into this space. We share the same stories, the dorms, the first week, how we got there, the this and the that. We got here on our ancestors' back. Mama drug us down here, you know what I'm saying? The crazy thing is, like, we in DC, we in the nation's capital.
Yeah.
And so that changes things because when things happen to the nation, we experience that.
Firsthand.
And, you know what I'm saying? Part of our responsibility is to, you know what I'm saying, do as much we can to shift, you know what I'm saying, what's going on in the nation from here. Like when there's a Millions More march, that was my freshman year. Because we're in the nation's capital, we going to the march because we marching from the flagpole down to, you know what I'm saying, the Capitol and wherever. This place prepared me for the world. Howard literally made me a world citizen and I didn't even know it. But being here in this space, meeting all of these people from all of these different backgrounds, it really gave me a worldview.
Yeah.
And so whenever I'm in a work setting, professional setting, academic setting, because I went on and got my master's and all of that from other schools, I'm in that space and I'm like, I went to Howard. I got this.
Howard's contributions to civil rights and equality is sometimes upstaged by its contributions to entertainment. So it's only right that we honor the place that keeps the records of our history and culture, Founders Library. We're going to delve into the history with Dr. Lopez Matthews Jr., digitizer and keeper of the vault, as well as the man, the myth, the legend, Dr. Greg Carr, chairman of the Africana Studies Department here at Howard University.
I know how significant Founders is because, I'm from the days we were studying in an undergrad library, which was Club UGL, but we studied. But can you please explain the importance of Founders and how does it serve the people here?
Founders was built in 1939 with $1.2 million from the federal government. They put it in the congressional budget, gave it to Howard, which was an amazing amount of money in the 1930s.
Great Depression was not yet over. Franklin Roosevelt was president. It was designed by a black architect, dude out of Baltimore named Albert Cassell.
And that's why there was controversy when they built the library, because they said, why does a black school need a library of that caliber? When the prevailing thought was that black people didn't have the capacity to learn like that.
Cassell not only designed the external building, Albert Cassell designed the internal. He did the interior design. All this hardwood around here. The clocks in the wall.
That's still standing now.
Yes, sir. When you come in the foyer, at the browsing room, that stone in the floor that shines like the moon when you polish it up. All the brass railings. This architect not only designed the outside, he designed the inside. The fireplace is on every floor. The Great Hall on the second floor.
It had space for over 1 million books. For 1939, it was a state-of-the-art library. And they're like, wow, that's so nice. Why is it on a black college campus?
When the building was dedicated, when it was opened, and the Secretary of Interior came to receive the keys or, to dedicate the building, and then Howard University opened, in his speech he said, you don't build a building, you don't build a library for today. You build it for 100 years from now. And who knows what Howard University will be in 100 years. So when you see a Founders Library, you're seeing a physical testament to our genius that will speak perpetually to the future. And when you see it as a library, you enter the halls, you realize that you're the next link in a chain that goes forever. And in order for that chain to go on forever, you got to be a strong link, because the chain's only strong as its weakest link.
The architect of the Brown versus Board of Education decision, Charles Hamilton Houston, he was the dean of the School of Law here at Howard. The School of Law was in this building, actually on this floor. And so he and Thurgood Marshall and the other lawyers did the work for the Brown versus Board of Education case that they argued at the Supreme Court in this building.
Where we're at right now.
Yeah, in this building where we're at right now. They practiced their oral arguments in the browsing room, which is down on the first floor. The chairs that we're sitting in are probably the same chairs they sat in, because these chairs were custom built for this building by Albert Cassell, who was a black architect, who was Howard trained. And so you had people like Haile Selassie in this building, Kwame Nkrumah, Martin Luther King, basically every major figure of the 20th century has been in this building, if they've been on this campus. This is one of the largest repositories on African American history in the world, right here in this building.
Du Bois said, every group on this planet has something unique to give to humanity. Why would you sacrifice your specific culture to integrate into a society at the price of you losing who you are? Always remember that who you are is an important part of the human tapestry. This building is one of the most iconic libraries in the country. Black, blue, polka dot, zebra, don't matter.
We had the first book ever published by an African American in this building, downstairs, locked away in the vault.
And that's why the clock tower, the Capoleon, occupies the place it does on the letterhead, on the sweatshirts. When you see that, you know that's Howard University.
Oh, no doubt. And when you heard it, you knew to get to class.
No question. At 6 p.m., 6 a.m., noon, midnight, the alma mater.
I think that as long as there are black people in America, and as long as there are black people in a world that kind of frames itself around whiteness and anti-black racism, you'll need places and spaces like this. You'll need a place where you can learn that history doesn't begin with slavery, that it doesn't begin, to almost kind of deprogram all of the self-hate and all of the inferiority that you kind of pick up either actively or subconsciously just from learning and participating in a system that is not designed for you. You know what I mean?
Important to have our own headquarters.
Exactly. So
There's really, I think, a renewed emphasis on the importance of black colleges, especially as you see the rise of racism happening in our politics, on our campus. People have problems with feeling safe on campus because of the hostility. To have a place like Howard, where you know that you're going to be given a certain amount of freedom to explore yourself without feeling like you're under attack because of your race.
I was literally
you
like,
know what I mean? That's priceless to have something like that.
I come from a university that constantly produces top-tier African Americans to go out into the world to make a difference. That's just my joy. I hope my daughter is, will be a part of that legacy.
A lot of times in the media, you see black people represented a certain way, and it's not always a positive light. So I feel like people coming to Howard University, a prestigious university, it gives you a different idea of what it is to be black elites. You know, for people who can see black people succeeding, people who are educated, who look just like you, and dispel the myths of what's going on the media, what they want you to believe about yourself.
The only reason any of us work here is to make sure that each generation is prepared to go out and continue to rewrite the DNA of this criminal enterprise we call the United States. And you all go out and exactly do this, because we're sitting here talking black with black media at a black homecoming, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the definition of a perfect world.